As we record this, Carmela, the wine we are choosing for this episode is extremely timely. Do you know why?
I don't. Why is that?
Well, for this Getting Serious About Rosé episode, we are reviewing a wine called Tavel that has been called the Pope's wine.
Amazing timing.
I know. It's also been called the fourth wine, and we're going to find out why it has both of those names.
All right.
Hello, and welcome to the Wine Pair Podcast. I'm Joe, your sommelier of a reasonably priced wine, and this is my wife and my wine pairing partner in crime, Carmela.
Hi there.
And we are the Wine Pair. If you're new to the podcast, here's what you can expect. If you love wine and you want to find great wines at affordable prices, and you want to expand your wine horizons, and you want to have some laughs and fun while doing it, then you are in the right place. And each week what we do is we explore a different wine varietal, style, or brand, or region of the winemaking world, and we learn about what makes them worth knowing about. And then we taste 2 to 3 of those wines that are reasonably priced to let you know if they're worth your hard-earned money. And so if that feels like your vibe, then we are super happy you are here. And we're proud to say that Decanter Magazine calls us fun, irreverent,
chatty,
and entertaining.
And vibey.
We're
kind of vibey.
We are so vibey. Mm-hmm. Okay, Carmela, it's been a while, but we're heading back into summer. It's not so far away.
Yay! Are you a summer baby? Like, do you like the summer?
No, I'm a winter baby.
I know,
and I like the winter.
just kind of.
You know this. We've been married for a long time.
I know.
You're just trying to bring up conversation,
not, right?
Okay.
So.
Can we get back to the wine?
Yeah, I mean, we're so enthusiastic about summertime, but really. Okay, anyway.
When summer comes around, what a lot of people look forward to is rosé. Am I right or am I right?
I think you're right.
And when most people think about rosé, they think about a soft, sweet, and fruity wine that's great super cold when you're poolside. Don't you think?
Well, I mean, like, we're just expecting everybody has a pool now.
I know, but no, I'm just saying if it's something that you would think of drinking by the pool,
okay,
right?
Or imagine. Maybe you just imagine.
Imagine it. Right. And then again, for some people, particularly some snobby red wine folks, they don't look forward to rosé for that very reason. They don't think rosé is a serious wine, and they poo-poo it as a wine for normies. Normies.
What's a normie?
A normal person.
Did you just make that up?
No, somebody said normies.
It's not like skep.
No, I didn't make it up. And so we think this could be the episode that covers both of these people and why we are doing another one of our Getting Serious About Rosé episodes, because we think we may have found the rosé that will change anyone's opinion about rosé, and it's called Tavel.
Ooh.
Tavel. So you may not have seen or heard of Tavel before, or you just may have ignored it, because most people just think that rosé is a wine in and of itself, when in reality, it's a style of winemaking. So the first thing to remember about rosé, again, is that to be a rosé, you have to start with a red wine grape. Am I right or am I right?
You're right.
Okay.
I've been checking your show notes.
Thank you.
And you're right.
And it can be any red wine grape, by the way. And yes, the taste of the rosé will be greatly impacted by the grapes that are used and the technique the winemaker uses as well. So far, are you with me?
I think so. I'm following along.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So for those of you who may not be familiar with how rosé wine is made, Carmela, I know you know, but I want to tell the rest of the people, or may have forgotten since it's been a while since we've done an episode on it. Rosé gets its color like any red wine does from the grape skins, not the grape juice. Right. So a red wine will generally spend a week to several weeks or even more in contact with grape skins. And that's how it gets its rich red color. But with a rosé, the grape skins don't stay with the juice for very long, usually less than 24 hours. And that's why they get that pink color. And then in the direct press method, which is most often used to make a rosé, the winemakers crush the red grapes to release the juice just like they would with any other wine. And then they let the grape juice sit with the skins, but again, only for a short period of time, usually just a few hours and almost always less than 24 hours. And this short contact gives rosé its pink color instead of a deep red color. And then they remove the skins and let the juice ferment. And on a total side note, by the way, you can make white wines with red grapes, okay? Because the juice is generally clear. So if you think about Champagne or Blanc de Noir, those are sparkling wines made with Pinot Noir, which is a red grape, but they're clear. But what were you going to say?
All I'm thinking about is when you're a kid and you have a grape and you try and peel a grape. So if you peel a white grape and a red grape.
Random.
They both have white middles.
That's right. Most of the
Right?
time. Yeah, there's a few grapes that are red,
Dark in the inside
but
too.
most are clear.
Right.
You're
So
right.
don't tell me you didn't do that from, one time or another.
I did it all the time. I liked to peel my grapes.
Right.
I was a
don't
weirdo.
know why. Yeah,
I don't know
why
either.
people do it, but we did it. But yeah.
Okay.
Try it, people.
There you
Get
go.
your grapes.
If you don't believe us, there you go. And that's the way that
activity for you.
And that's the way that most rosé wines, like any other wines or red wines, they start, and it's the skins that gives the color. Now, there is another method for making rosé called the saignée method. It's less commonly used. It means to bleed off in French. And what they do when they make it this way, what they do is they make a red wine in the very beginning of the winemaking process. They'll draw off some of the juice, which has some color in it. And then they'll make a wine with that, and they'll continue to make the red wine. But that's not what we're talking about today. Let's talk just a bit about Tavel wine and where it's from before we discuss its history in a little bit more depth in the next section, including its connection to the popes. But we're going to get there in a minute.
Okay.
So most of the wine that people consider a typical rosé, that really light pink colored rosé, it's from the Provence area of France. And I say France.
I know. I don't know why, but you do you.
Okay. Now, Tavel is from the southern Rhone wine region of France. Provence and Rhone are neighbors. They're like friends. And they're right next to each
Good
other.
friends.
They're pretty good friends, I think.
Okay.
And
Hang out.
They hang out together, and they grow and use many of the same grapes in their wines. But Provence stretches along the Mediterranean Sea, east of the Rhone Valley, and it includes famous areas like Côte de Provence, Bandol, etc. And it's mostly known for rosé wine. Tavel, on the other hand, is in the southern Rhone, which is famous for Grenache-based wines like Châteauneuf-du-Pape, Gigondas, Côte de Rhône, and these are usually GSM blends, Grenache, Syrah, Mourvèdre blends. And Southern Rhone is also famous for Tavel and the AOC of Tavel. AOC means the sort of legally designated area of a wine in France. They only make rosé.
Wow.
Yeah, in Tavel, they only make
That's
rosé.
bold.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like it's bold.
It is kind of bold. It's
Right.
kind of a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
So while both are in southern France, southern Rhone is hotter and drier and more inland than Provence, and Provence is closer to the sea, which makes it a little bit cooler and breezier. And this, my friends, has an impact on the kinds of wines that each region will produce. The hint here is this: hotter areas make more concentrated and riper fruit, and so you can tell right off the bat that Tavel is going to be a richer wine than the rosés of Provence. Okay? So this is why California wines tend to be so big and concentrated, and why I don't tend to like them quite as much.
True.
But that's just because it's warmer there and the grapes get more concentrated flavor. But that's enough of that for now. We have other stuff to do. We have a couple of Tavel wines that we're going to taste and review today to let you know if they're worth seeking out. And again, why they call Tavel the fourth wine. And again, why they call Tavel the Pope's wine. But first,
You got to do our shameless plug.
that's right. So thank you for listening to us and for supporting our show. And if you haven't had the chance to do so yet, now would be the perfect time to follow or subscribe to our podcast, and also to leave us a nice rating and review to help us grow our listeners. And a huge, huge thank you to all of you who have subscribed and left a review. We really appreciate that. You can also follow us on Instagram at The Wine Pair Podcast and on Blue Sky, and you can contact us on our website, thewinepairpodcast.com. You can sign up for our email newsletter there. It's coming out pretty soon, the beginning of each month. And you can also visit our shop wine section, where you can find links to buy wines that we rate as buys in each episode. And if either of these wines shows up as a wine that we think you should buy, it'll show up on our website, and you can just click on the link and you can buy it.
But you will not know until the end of this episode.
You won't. It's like suspense.
we
There's
don't
so
even
much
know
suspense.
yet. We don't know.
Aren't we building up a lot of suspense?
Yeah.
Fourth wine, the Popes.
I don't know if it's us
it good?
or if everybody's feeling that way, but I'm feeling a little full of suspense.
I'm sweating.
Well,
That's
okay,
normal.
come on.
Okay. And we want to make content that you care about and you like, so send us a note or DM us and give us some feedback, or let us know if there are wines you want us to try or winemaking areas of the world that you're curious about, and we'll take care of it. You can email me and us at joe@thewinepairpodcast.com. And if you do have a couple of shout outs this week, Amy Leland on Blue Sky, who sent us some ideas for restaurants and wine tours in Campania, which is really cool.
Fun.
And Amy, we swear we are not spying on you.
Wait, why does she think we're spying on her?
Because we kept on bringing up all these areas in Italy for wines. And she's like, hey, are you guys spying on me? Because this is where I'm going.
Oh my gosh. No, I would know. I would know.
Yeah,
I think.
I'm not spying.
No.
Okay. And also to Shaker, who sent us a really good article on how millennials are changing the wine industry. We'll put it in our newsletter. But the short story is that they drink less. They drink higher priced wines, and they're looking for more natural and organic wines. So it's a really good article.
Yeah, I like it.
And then the last shout out is to Timmy's Vino on Instagram, whose wife thinks that he's cool now that we gave him a shout out in a previous episode. So there you go.
Timmy, I think you're so cool.
Do it again, Timmy. Do it again.
I'm on your side, buddy.
There we go. And as we do every week, we'll tell you someone we think you should recommend the Wine Pair podcast to, because that's the best way for us to grow listeners. And this week, we want you to recommend us to anyone who you think needs to know more about rosé and maybe needs to find a rosé that will change how they feel about it, because this could be the episode to do it.
We're ready to change your life.
Change your life, change your wine, change your mind.
Nice.
All of those things.
Was that on the script?
No, you inspired me and I just went off the cuff.
Wow.
Off the cuff.
That's amazing.
Okay, now Carmela, we need to find out just what the Tavel is.
Okay.
And to do so, there are two mysteries again that we need to solve. The first mystery again is, why is it called the fourth wine? And the second mystery is, why is it called the Pope's wine? And again, especially timely with the passing of Pope Francis I. And in the near future, we're also going to do an episode on Châteauneuf-du-Pape. And you may ask, why would that matter?
Why would that matter, Joe?
Well, I'm glad you asked that, because it's from the same area as Tavel, and the translation of the name Châteauneuf-du-Pape is the Pope's new castle. So
wow.
it seems very timely as they go into conclave pretty soon.
Wow. And who doesn't like saying that name?
Châteauneuf-du-Pape.
I mean, come on.
It's fun.
It's
fun
a
to
really
say.
fun one.
Are you curious, though, about these two things?
I'm so curious. Wait, what are the two? No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, boy. So let's start with the first one. Why is Tavel called the fourth wine of the Rhone?
Let's find out.
Okay, well, evidently, it is a saying among winemakers in the Rhone that, and I quote, there exist four wines: white, rosé, Tavel, and red. And by this, they mean that, as Megan Maker of Terroir Review says, stylistically and gastronomically, Tavel feels like a drink unto itself. She said unto itself. A fourth wine, and not to be taken lightly. Wow, this is serious. When we say we're getting serious about rosé,
my goodness.
Oh, this is the one.
Don't talk down to rosé.
No. And there are several characteristics that account for this description as the fourth wine.
Okay.
The first is color and appearance. So you're going to see this, but Tavel Rosé has a deep pink, almost red hue, sometimes described as deep watermelon, or I don't make this up, late sunset, which is kind of a good,
I love that.
Kind of get that.
I love that description, yeah.
It's significantly darker than the pale salmon colors that you usually think about when you think of rosé wines, especially Provence-style rosé.
That's how they're setting themselves apart.
That's one.
Okay.
A second one is body and structure. So unlike most rosés, which are on the lighter side, Tavel wines have weight and structure and tannin because they have a longer exposure to the skin during maceration. This can last from 12 to even 72 hours. And remember, I said usually rosés don't stay on the skins that long, but in Tavel, sometimes they'll stay on extra long, and that causes differences in both color and taste.
I hope that they plan it well, so it's not like in the middle of the night they have to go and, well, it's 3 a.m.
We should have put that wine in earlier. No, they don't. They plan this. Okay. Also, winemaking techniques are different. Tavel winemaking, as we mentioned, involves a longer maceration period with grape skins. I said that already. And some producers may also incorporate press wine, which adds to the wine's power and structure. So what the hell is press wine, Carmela?
What is pressed wine, Joe?
I'm going to tell you.
I'm glad you were kind of pointing that at me, and I was like, I don't know.
I'll tell you. Pressed wine, it means juice extracted from the grape skins and pulp after the initial free-run juice has been drained. So they press it once, and that's the best juice. And then they do a press wine, which is they take the rest of that gunk and they just squeeze juice out of it.
Oh, boy.
So this tends to be a darker, more tannic, more concentrated, and sometimes more bitter wine. And so this will add some difference to the flavor. And this process in Tavel is sometimes referred to as the Tavellois technique. I'm not kidding. Also then, on the palate, Tavel can have flavors like red fruits, so think cherry and raspberry, along with savory and spicy notes, and minerality that can make it drink more like a light red wine than a typical rosé.
Oh, interesting. It could have way more of a red flair to it.
Totally. That's the kind of expectation.
Yes.
In fact, some describe it as having a richness reminiscent of a lighter style of Chateau du Pape.
Oh,
So
boy.
interesting. And then finally, in terms of food pairing, due to its body and bigger structure, Tavel is considered an excellent gastronomic wine that can pair with a wider range of foods beyond what you might consider usually for a rosé, like lighter summer fare. So it can go with a lot broad. We're going to find out in a little bit what we think foods it can go with, but that is the expectation.
Okay.
But that's the first mystery solved. That's why it's called the fourth wine, because it's not really a rosé and it's not really a red. It's kind of a tweener.
Wow.
So this will be
Its
interesting.
own thing. It's one of these things is doing their own thing.
Right. Then what? I don't know.
Then the other things.
Then the right. You're so right. So
Wait,
so clear.
Wasn't that amazing?
Super clear.
Well, if you had the four, it's doing, hanging out there.
Yeah.
They're all different.
It's like if
What?
you have
It
four
doesn't work.
kids.
It doesn't
If
work.
you have four kids, they're not
one
all
of
the
these
same
things
kid.
is doing his own
They're all
thing.
going to be doing their own things. One's going to be
True.
spinning
That's a
around.
really
One's going to be
dumb
doing
saying.
somersaults. One's going to be like
Well,
punching.
I guess if you have three kids and they're all like jump roping, and then the other one is standing on its head.
That's Tavel. Okay,
Right.
Can we go to the next mystery?
Yes.
Okay, so the next mystery to solve is why is it called the Pope's wine?
Why is it called the Pope's wine?
I'm so glad you asked. You keep asking these excellent
I know,
questions
I'm
today.
just so sharp
you are
today.
on it. You are so
You
on
think
it.
that I wrote the script?
You would think so.
You would.
Okay, so the first thing you should know is that Tavel is very close to Avignon. And do you know why that's important, Carmela?
Why is that important?
When it comes to the popes, Carmela, do you know why?
I actually don't.
Okay, the reason why it's important is that for a period of time between 1309 and 1376, 7 popes during that period were living in Avignon. They were not in Rome. They were in Avignon. This period of time was known as the Avignon Papacy, also sometimes known as the Babylonian captivity of the papacy. And they did it because the French kings were very powerful at the time. So you may not know this, but again, the popes were in France, in Avignon, for almost a century.
Wow.
So it's really, this is where this comes from. So Tavel was served to the papal court in Avignon. And the popes liked the juice. In fact, it was said to have been one of the favorites of the popes.
Goodness, okay.
And during the period, probably for obvious reasons, the clergy showed a strong interest in Rhone Valley vineyards. And then local legend has it, according to Guillaume Dumoulin of Chateau Trinquevedel, and I bring that up because that name will show up later in one of our wines, that in the 14th century, Pope Innocent VI, who was a great lover of wine, asked the people of Tavel to make wines lighter in color and alcohol than the reds from Chateau du Pape across the river. The people of Tavel said, "You got it, you're the Pope, we're going to do that for you." And so they created a wine of color called Rubis Tineti d'Or, which means ruby with a golden tinge in French.
Oh my, okay.
And then even after the papal court moved back to Rome in 1377, the wines from Tavel continued to be exported to Italy, so the popes continued to dig on this wine.
Wow.
So
I mean, weren't they supposed to be doing other things?
the popes during this time were like different dudes.
Okay.
They were
They
different.
had the right idea, I think.
When we say papal court, they were like kings. They really were. It was a different time frame. Drinking wine and having fun. Yeah. So
Sign me up.
there you go. Well, I don't know. So the second mystery is solved now. The popes, when they were near Tavel, they started to really enjoy the wine. They served it frequently and even brought it back to Rome. Hence why it's called the wine of the popes. But I think we've learned enough about the wine's history, Carmela, and its background and its style, and it's time for us to learn more about the wines we chose for this episode. What do you say?
I'm ready.
Let's do it! Okay. As usual, the wines we've chosen for this episode are under $25 each, and they both should be relatively easy to find because I bought one of them on wine.com, and the other I bought with great fear and trepidation at Total Wine.
Ooh, what brought you there?
Well,
Were you looking for this particular wine?
Yeah, and they always have a rosé section, and I figured they'd probably have a Tavel, and they had one. Which is
I was waiting for you.
Yeah, and if you want to know more about why I always go into Total Wine with fear and trepidation, you can check out minisode number 15 from October called Why Total Wine is Sus and why we're skep of it.
Okay.
Okay, but anyway.
Is that when that was born? Skep?
No, I don't remember actually.
Okay, I don't either.
It's such a saying with us. It's hard to remember when it was
Right.
born. It's like your kids. They're around so much, you just forget when they're born.
Wow. Wait.
No,
Who
actually,
are you?
It's the exact opposite. You always remember their birthday. Okay, Tavel should not be super hard to find, though. So any place with a decent wine selection, particularly of French wines, is going to have a Tavel. But let's say you're probably not going to find it at your local 7-Eleven, okay? And Tavel is not, as we've been going through, the typical rosé that your Aunt D is going to be looking for.
Why do you say Aunt D?
Because she likes rosé.
Oh.
And she likes to put she likes it super cold and she likes to put some ice cubes in it.
Okay.
And I don't think she's going to like Tavel. No, actually, I shouldn't say that. She may very well like Tavel, but this is not, when she says rosé, she ain't thinking about this.
Okay.
All right?
Okay, well, I'll remember that.
Okay, so the first wine we're going to try today is the 2022 Chateau Trinquevedel Tavel Rosé. Remember I said, hey, that name will come back? Well, this guy's name was in the wine.
They just named the wine after him?
I think it's the chateau that his name is associated with. So this wine is imported by Kermit Lynch, not Kermit the Frog, but Kermit Lynch. And Kermit Lynch is a very well-respected importer who we think is pretty reliable. So in a future mini-sode, we actually might talk a little bit about finding an importer you like as a way to find different wines that you may also like, because importers tend to have styles of wines and wineries that they like. But anyway, I digress. So now this wine is a blend of a bunch of different grapes. It's 60% Grenache, 13% Claret, 13% Syrah, 10% Cinsault, 3% Mourvedre, and 1% Bourboulenc.
Wow.
And I will also note that in Tavel, 60% Grenache, which is what this wine has, is the highest concentration of Grenache that's allowed.
Oh,
you can't have any more than 60% Grenache.
Have that.
To be a Tavel.
Okay.
That is the rule in Tavel.
Okay.
Now, of those 6 grapes, there are 2 that I am not very familiar with, namely the Claret and the Bourboulenc. I think I'm saying it right. And what's interesting about this is both of them are white wine grapes.
Huh.
So that's unusual. Remember, rosé wines get their color from red wine grapes. So,
Right.
but in this one, they're putting white wine grapes in the blend as well. So here's a little quick background. Claret and Bourboulenc are sometimes used in small amounts in Tavel rosé blends to add freshness, to add structure, and some aromatics as well. Claret brings kind of a soft citrus taste, a hint of bitterness, a little bit of rounder mouthfeel, and Bourboulenc adds acidity and floral notes and a bit of texture. And you'll also find them in white blends, not red blends, but white blends from Châteauneuf du Pape, Languedoc, and Provence. But in Tavel, they help balance out the bold red grapes without adding any color. But this wine, too, Carmela, is pretty high in alcohol. It's 14.5%.
Oh, wow.
And when you see the color, you're going to say, I'm telling you, the color looks like maraschino cherry juice.
Oh, okay. So it's going to be dark.
It's a bright,
rosé.
it's a ruby, ruby red.
Okay.
The winery says the wine has cold skin maceration for 12 to 48 hours. So again, remember we said longer than a day? Well, up to 2 days in this one, in cement tanks, and then it's direct pressed. It's fermented for 20 days in cement tanks at a low temperature, and then aged for 6 to 9 months in enamel-lined stainless steel cuves. Cuves is the French word for a vat or a tank. So I'm expecting it to be kind of fresh, maybe crisp. There's no oak on it. It doesn't go through malolactic fermentation, so they're kind of keeping some of the acidity on the wine. Okay, so the next wine we're going to taste and review is the 2023 Gabriel Meffre Saint Ferréol Tavel.
My good job.
I'm so bad
That
at
was
it.
great.
Somebody should just call me and say, dude, just
You have
don't
not
even
gotten
try.
any feedback on that
No.
before?
The only one that's ever commented was Elvir, who is my friend from Croatia. And he was like, I'm going to teach you how to pronounce some words in the future. So Elvir, you'll
Give a
teach
call.
me.
Give a ring.
That's right. So the winery doesn't give the exact percentage of the grapes that they use, but they do call out Cinsault, Grenache, and Syrah. So it's a bit of a different blend than the first one. The winery says that this wine is a blend of the 3 famous terroirs of Tavel. So limestone slate from the upper slopes, galettes or cobblestones from the mid-level terraces, and sandy gravel from the vineyards closer to the Rhone River. Now remember, technically, there is supposed to be no such thing as minerality in wine, Carmela, but we should at least find that these grapes have good concentration of flavors from the water stress in those rocky and sandy soils. Remember, grapes like stress. They like water stress.
Wow.
So now to make this wine, the winery says that they take a portion of the grapes and they macerate them on the skins for 8 hours. So that's not super long. And then the rest are direct pressed right when they arrive. And they actually make the wines separately from these 2 sets of grapes. So they keep them separated. They ferment them at very low temperatures. And then after fermentation, they blend them together. And they spend about 4 months in the tanks before being bottled. So they don't give quite the same amount of precise information, but it's enough to get an impression that this Gabriel Meffre may be a less concentrated version between the two. That's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
But I don't know. By the way, the winery says they are vegan friendly.
Okay.
So my take on this is that what they mean is they don't use any animal products in their fining and filtering process if they fine and filter. But vegan friendly is a little vague.
Well, I don't know. Why do you say that?
Well, because they don't say they're vegan. They say they're vegan friendly.
Oh, I see.
So I just think it's a little bit vague. Like, are you vegan or are you not? You know what?
I don't know. I mean, I would think if you're vegan friendly, I think it means that you're vegan.
Okay. All right. Debate.
I think.
People debate us. Do you agree or not?
I mean, if somebody says allergy friendly, I think you are the same thing.
Okay. I like it. You know what? I just want to know what the people. I want to know what the people think.
Yeah, let us know.
Let us know.
You tell us your take on vegan friendly.
That's right. So, and by the way, it's time for us to start drinking. So, first of all, you can send us a note at joe@thewinepairpodcast.com to let us know if you think vegan friendly and vegan are the same thing. But the other thing is, if you drink a Tavel along with us, or a rosé, or any other wine, you get participation points. And you can send us a note and we'll send you some stickers. But on that, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back.
Okay.
Okay, we are back and we're ready to try our first wine. And I'll say this right off the bat. If you've ever seen a Chateau Neuf de Pop bottle, they have a little emblem on it. On this bottle, Tavel also has a little emblem. So it's like a T within a shield. So the wines have it, or the wine bottles have it. And it's a nice, beautiful, tall
really
bottle.
Pretty, yeah.
And then what do you think about the color?
It's dark. I mean, it's lighter in the glass, but I don't think some people would just like an average person would probably not know this is a rosé.
They might even think it's a red wine.
Yeah.
To me, it looks like a Pinot Noir
cheap
rosé.
Red wine, actually.
You're right.
I hate to say it.
That's actually a good call.
Yeah.
Okay. Really quickly again, this is the Chateau Trinquevedel Tavel Rosé. It's from Southern Rhone, France. This is a 2022. It was $19.97 at wine.com. 14.5% alcohol. So again, a lot of alcohol. 60% Grenache, 13% Claret, 13% Syrah, 10% Cinsault, 3% Mourvedre, and 1% Bourbon. And professional rating, wine enthusiasts gave it a 91 and Vivino a 3.8. We've already talked about the color. I think it's, to me, it's like somebody poured water into a red wine.
Yeah, I was going to say it's watered down. So it looks like a watered down red wine. Mm-hmm. It's pretty. It kind of looks like Kool-Aid.
I think it's really pretty.
Yeah.
I think it's quite kind of elegant looking.
Yeah. But it does, I mean, when it's in the glass, it's a little bit lighter. What are you laughing at?
Well, just because it's funny, because I'm saying it looks elegant, but I could also see somebody going like, what are you serving me?
That's the thing is it's almost like it could be, again, like a cherry Kool-Aid.
It could.
But if you, it's very pretty though. And it kind of smells, funny enough, I'm kind of getting like Dr. Pepper on it.
Oh,
something
interesting.
Like root beer. Why would it? Maybe my nose is off today.
No, I think that's good. I'm getting cherry. I mean, Dr.
Like
Pepper.
Cherry cola, maybe?
Yeah, it's kind of what I was thinking. Dr. Pepper has a cherry cola taste.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm getting a little spice and cherry on it. It's super cold, so I don't feel like I'm getting a ton of smell on it. It's not super aromatic. Like, it's not just like popping out of the glass. At least not with me.
It's a little subtle. Yeah, it's a little subtle.
Almost
a little bit of spice, like you said.
A little bit of spice, almost a little licoricey, like a little bit of like a raspberry licorice or something.
Okay. Yeah, there's a little something candy on it too. You know, like even like a cherry, like hard candy.
I mean, I feel like I've got COVID. I'm having trouble smelling a lot.
Okay. It's a little perfumey too.
It is a little perfumey. I think that's right. A little rose, maybe a little bit of rose on it. Okay, let's try it and see what we think.
Oh, wow.
It's really interesting. It's kind of a little bit cherry. It's almost a little bit astringent.
Yes.
It's almost got a little bit of like cherry. A little bit
of a bite on it too.
Almost like a little bit of a cherry cough syrup. Don't you think a little bit?
It's a little strong with a little, at the end there's a little bit of that. Like the cough syrup goes down easy, but there's a little bit of bitter
aftertaste.
That you're kind of, when you're young, you're like, ooh, what was that? Why did it end off that way?
It is super tannic. Like it tastes like tea. It tastes like a raspberry tea or a cranberry tea. It's so tannic.
Yeah.
It's so tannic.
Cranberry, pomegranate. Some of those sort of pop, those ones that just sort of pop in your mouth.
Pomegranate's a great one because pomegranate can have that kind of almost tannic, like bitter feel to it. You're not using like, she's writing her notes. She's like,
yeah, but I'm also like, it's tasty.
I kind of like it.
I do too.
The thing is that it is a richer rosé, but I wouldn't say it's not as big as a red wine.
No.
I mean,
it's still kind of refreshing. You could have this on a summer day, no problem.
Totally.
A little summer sipper.
I kind of feel like it's too cold. I kind of feel like it would be a little, you would get more flavor and more aroma out of it if it was a little warmer. I almost feel like I'm serving it too cold.
But okay, my feeling is if it warmed up a bit, it'd be better with food. But if you're just drinking this by the pool, like you were saying, this is actually really nice. Like on a hot day.
It's really nice. It's got a definite like cherry or raspberry, almost a little bit of maraschino cherry flavor to it. And then it does get that little medicine on the back end, which is not bad. I think when you're a little kid, you don't like it as much, but when you're an adult, you're like, I kind of like that.
It's kind of a little bit of a unusual, like medicinal, artificial taste on it. A little bit, but it still tastes nice.
It's nice. What foods would you pair with this vino?
Wow. Well, I think you could really do a lot with this. I mean, actually, I think like pizza would be really good. Wood-fired pizza.
Something grilled. You're thinking outside, like grilled.
I am. I'm kind of thinking you'd want to do, I mean, I even could see like kebabs, like, any kind, chicken kebabs. I think you could do
yakitori.
Wow. You could do yakitori, but you could do, this is pretty versatile to me. I think you could even do like shrimp, on the barbecue. Like you could do chicken. You could do like beef too.
This would be a killer wine.
I can't even talk, but that's what I'm thinking.
I think you're doing a great job of talking, by the way. But this would be a great Thanksgiving wine. It's a good holiday wine. I think this would be good with ham. Like we had ham on Easter. We had made that pineapple ham on Easter.
It's good.
I should post a picture of that. I didn't.
Oh my gosh, that was so fun. Did you take any pictures?
I did, Carmela.
Oh, good job, Joe. No, this would be really good. And you had Marciano cherries.
That's what I'm saying. Saying.
But no, it's very festive. I think it's a festive bottle.
It's pretty bottle.
Yeah.
And I think it's a little bit of a conversation piece. Like if you brought this somewhere, you serve this, people would be like, what is this? And you say a Tavel, and they're like, I don't know what that is. Is that a rosé? I've never had it before. And then you can tell
fourth wine.
And you can tell them it's the Pope's wine. And did you know that the Popes were in Avignon for almost a century? And you can go through that whole thing.
And then they might be like,
oh, no, they wouldn't. Okay, let's rate this wine. As a reminder, on our rating scale, we rate on a scale of 1 to 10 with no half points, except when we combine our scores together, and then there's half points sometimes. 7 and above means we're going to buy it. 4 below means we ain't going to buy it. We're going to pour it down the sink. 5 or 6 means we're going to drink it, and we may finish it, but we're not going to buy it. So, Carmela, what will you give the Chateau Trinquevedel Tavel Rosé?
Oh, it's tough. I mean, I definitely am giving it a 7.
Okay.
I mean, just for like
shits and giggles?
No, just for on appearance. Like
uniqueness.
I just think, it's also just at first glance, I'm like, for sure I would buy this wine. I'm going to give it, gosh, this is when I really want to get a half C. But I will say
you can't give it a half C.
I know. You and your rules.
We have to have rules.
Okay, I'm going to give it a 7.
Otherwise, it's chaos.
I'm going to give it a 7, but I may.
Will it help you out? I'm giving it an 8. because I like it a lot. I think I like rosé wines. Remember when we first started the podcast, we were very skep on rosé wines.
Especially.
Ooh, I was down on rosé wines because I just thought that I felt like the people who drank them didn't know what they were drinking. And that's still probably true, and that's okay. But I think for a rosé wine, this is a really fun rosé wine.
It's unique.
And it's actually kind of elegant, too.
I don't know if every rosé drinker, like you were saying earlier, would choose this, though.
No, but I think what you want, like what I was kind of getting at is, this might be a rosé that a red wine drinker would go, oh, I could drink this.
Maybe. I don't know.
Well, you're so skeptical.
I'm so
You're so skep. You're so
I like it.
You're doubting. You're like doubting Carmela.
Wow. I know. I like it. I'm giving it a 7. I'll tell you if I'm going to increase that score. I'm not going down.
Okay. She's not going down, ladies and gentlemen. And on that note, we are going to take a break and we're going to try a last wine. Okay, we're back and we're ready to try our last wine. This is the Gabriel Meffre Saint Ferréol Tavel. Southern Rhone, France is where it's from. This is a 2023. It was $24.99 a Total Wine. Man, not only did I have to go to Total Wine, they cost me an arm and a leg. 13.5% alcohol, so lighter in alcohol than the last one. Again, not really clear what the grape blend is in terms of percentages, but it's Cinsault, Grenache, and Syrah. And the International Wine and Spirits Competition, whatever they are, gave them a bronze medal, and Vivino has a 3.8 rating. Nice. But again, before we go into the color, I want to just say the bottles are really pretty.
So pretty.
They're kind of like that all-sauce, kind of tall, thin Riesling kind of bottle look. Yeah. But again, they have that shield with the T on it, etched or embossed into the glass.
Love it.
And along the top rim, too, if you look, of the bottle, they also have Tavel in it.
Yeah.
And the glass is clear. It's
I love
absolutely
that. I think
clear.
for a rosé, you need to have a clear bottle.
Yeah, and it really does.
Why would you not?
Yeah, exactly, and it really shows the wine. And this wine seems a touch darker to me.
Maybe.
What do you think?
I don't know. I think it's pretty similar.
You do?
I think there's a little hint of more like of orange in this one, maybe.
I think so too.
Which may give it a little bit of a deeper look. But
I was thinking more like a dark salmon. You know, like you get a deep, dark salmon. I don't know. There's something about it.
Dark salmon. But they're just beautiful bottles. Great gift bottles. I mean, this would be pretty for a holiday, for Valentine's Day.
Really? It would be great.
4th of July. Love it.
But it is a very pretty wine. It's a very pretty looking wine. Again, it's different than a normal rosé.
Kool-Aid.
It is a little Kool-Aid.
Yeah. What is the Kool-Aid song? Do you remember it?
Oh, yeah.
No.
That's what he used to say when he used to pound through the walls.
Oh, I thought there was
pound through the walls.
Wow,
okay. Let's smell it before I get into trouble here.
Not as like sweet as the other one. The other one had a little bit of that, you know, like we were saying, the cough syrup.
Yeah.
It doesn't have as much sweetness on it.
No, in fact, I think it's a little herby. It's got a little herbs on it.
A little more grass.
A little less fruit. I will say again, these wines are not the most aromatic wines. I mean, they are cold, but I don't feel like we're getting sometimes you get a wine, it's like, oh, I can smell a lot.
No.
I just don't feel like they're super aromatic.
Maybe it is because they're cold.
I think they're too cold. I feel like I want to heat it up a little bit.
No. Put it in the microwave.
I guess I'm getting a little bit of that like pomegranate or cranberry again. It's like a tart red fruit on it. Okay. But maybe we just need to taste it because I'm not getting a ton on the nose.
No, I'm not either. Okay.
I would say this is like, it's kind of, okay, so I was going to say it's a little mellower than the first one, but I will say it's got that same thing again, whereas it sits and lingers. So like post-swallow, that tea, tannin, dryness, and bitterness really comes through.
Definitely. I think it's fresher, though.
You think it's fresher? Yeah.
I do. There's something about it there's a little bit more of a lightness. The other one is a little more viscous or... Again, that cough syrup was kind of coming through. This feels a little lighter. This is more like raspberry, like a fresh raspberry. Fresh raspberry, more fresh fruit. Yeah,
a little bit of tart on the tart end, like on the less ripe end. But you can really taste it. But it's a nice wine. It's. I don't think it's going to blow your socks off.
I don't think it's as interesting as the other one.
No,
but it's nice. It's refreshing, beautiful.
If you brought this to a bunch of people, they'd be totally happy drinking this wine, I think. But what do you think?
No, I think everything that you've said.
That is code for I didn't listen to a word that you just said.
I just go ditto.
No. Do you think
ditto?
Do you think that people who like rosés would like this wine?
Ditto. Oh, that doesn't work. I do. I mean, look, I don't know like a ton of people who are like just total rosé people.
Really?
Yeah. But I think this would be a winner when it just giving it as a gift to anybody, really. Mm-hmm. But I think, I think it has hints of rosé, but I think it's like the next level type.
Okay. I like it. To me, this has got a little bit, like there's a few flavors that are coming through that are kind of interesting. A little bit soapy and a little bit chapsticky. Oh, something really? A little bit chapsticky, like cherry chapstick.
Okay.
It's almost, there is a little bit of almost, like you said this in the last one too, like almost like a little artificial kind of flavor to it. Mm-hmm. But I think it's because of that press wine. I think if they're really squeezing out, not just the juice, but like they're really squeezing the skins and the seeds, and you're going to get some weird flavor, not weird, but just different kinds of flavors in it.
It's funny though. I don't feel like this one has as much of it. And I feel like you think this one might have more.
No, I don't think it has more. I think it just has a slightly different, to me, little waxier taste. I don't know why. What food would you pair with the Gabriel Meffre Ferréol Tavel?
I think this would be another, good, you could do, now that you've brought up Thanksgiving, although I feel like this is a very nice summer wine. But
total summer wine.
I think turkey would be really nice with this. Like a Thanksgiving meal altogether would be nice with this. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so too. I don't think it's quite as versatile as the Trinquevedel, the first one, but I think you could do a lot with it. I think this is, to me, this drinks a little bit more like a white wine versus even a rosé. It just doesn't, like some rosés are so sweet and so like fruity sweet and watermelony that they're very particular about what kinds of foods you have with them. This one's a little bit more versatile than that, but not quite as versatile as the first one. But I think you could do spicy foods. I think you could do fish. I think it's a nice wine, and I think Thanksgiving dinner would be great.
Yeah. It's definitely one of those wines too that is pretty crowd pleaser type, I think.
That's what I was trying to get at.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You could just get away with serving this to people who like lots of different varieties.
Totally agree. What rating are you going to give this wine, Carmel?
You know what? I'm going to bump the first one up to an 8.
Okay.
I'm going to give this one a 7. Okay. I mean, it's funny because I'm like, when we do these, I mean, if I'm going to buy one of these wines, a Tavel, I'm going to buy the first one over this second one. So then I'm like, but I would still buy this if this was the only option.
Fair enough.
Okay.
I'm sticking with my 8 on the first one. This one I'm giving a 6.
Okay.
And the reason why is I do not think it's a bad wine. Don't get me wrong. I just kind of the path you were going down. If I'm going to buy a Tavel, I'm going to buy that first one, the Chateau Trinquevedel, much more than I would buy this one. I think this one's pretty good. It's good enough to drink. And, I might be being a little bit too harsh on it. It's just, there's nothing special about it to me. And if I'm going to have a Tavel, I want something to really shout like it's special. And so
I'm special.
Yeah, right, exactly. So don't get me wrong. I think people may really like it. And I'm enjoying drinking it. I just don't think I'm going to buy it. I just don't think I'd go out and buy it.
It's fair.
Yeah. Which one of these two are you finishing tonight? It's probably
we're going to fight over the first.
The Chateau Trinquevedel. Okay, well, let's do the taste profiles expected from Tavel Rosé. You're going to get red fruits like strawberry, cherry, raspberry, cooked candied rose. I don't know why that was so hard for me to say. Cooked candied raspberries, stone fruit, licorice, spice, white pepper, herbs, smoky, floral, whetstone, garden hose. That's interesting. That little weird taste. Like we were getting some strange taste, like chemically taste. Garden hose is pretty good.
God, the last time I ate a garden hose.
No, but don't you know you drink water out of a garden hose and you get that kind of taste?
Yeah, I guess
that makes sense to me.
Okay.
Okay, the Chateau Trinquevedel, the wine enthusiast says pale watermelon in color, wild strawberry, cherries, black peppercorn, fleshy texture on the palate, crescendos in fruit intensity and minerality with enough aeration. I think it does need some aeration. I think it needs some time. Kermit Lynch says, its rich fruitiness on the palate recalls ripe strawberries warmed under the sun, then notes of spice and licorice kick in for a full-bodied, full-flavored finish. We were getting a little spice, and I think I did mention licorice on the first one.
Mm-hmm, you did.
The Gabriel Meffre, the winery says a deep, bright ruby color characteristic of Tavel wines, which is good since it is that. Very expressive nose with delicious notes of strawberry and pomegranate. We definitely got pomegranate. A lovely structure with flavors of grenadine. That's a good one.
I like that.
That's a good one.
I feel like that's definitely something I was tasting and smelling.
Yeah, grenadine's a good one. Good acidity combined with notes of strawberry coulis, which is puree. Followed, did you know that? What a coulis was? Oh my gosh, I should have asked you since you're the baker. And it's followed by a long, delicious finish. And the International Wine and Spirits Competition says gastronomic style. Grapefruit aromas on the nose. Not so sure about that. Elegant palate with well-defined texture, clean finish. Kind of feel like International Wine and Spirits Competition didn't try that hard. They gave one flavor, grapefruit. That's it.
What?
Yeah. So
I mean, it was not overwhelmingly grapefruit.
No,
either.
tart, like tart red fruit. Maybe a ruby grapefruit. I don't know. Anyway, Carmela, what is your verdict on Tavel Rosé?
I'm into it.
You're in.
Yeah.
I am too. I think it's cool. I think it's beautiful. I think it's fun.
It's different.
It's different. I would definitely say go out and buy it. And don't be turned off by the rating that I gave on the second wine.
Oh, no.
It's fun. Like people will like it.
It's a great change up, you know?
Yeah.
Doing something a little bit different. We're getting close to summer, like you said.
Totally.
I like it.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Well, it's super fun. Now we know our mysteries, too, why it's called the Pope's wine and the fourth wine. Wow, there you go.
Always learning.
Always learn, lifelong learners. Well, Carmela, it's time for us to go. But before we do, we want to thank you very much for listening to us. And if you haven't had a chance to do so yet, now would be a great time to follow or subscribe to our podcast and leave us a nice rating review. We really appreciate that. We love to hear from you. We always respond. You can DM us. Go to our website, thewinepairpodcast.com. You can email me at joe@thewinepairpodcast.com. We will always respond. We love to hear from you. We will give you shout outs. We really appreciate you.
Make you look cool to your spouse or boyfriend or girlfriend.
That's right. It means a lot to us too when you reach out. It means it's important to us to know that people listen, that they enjoy it, and that they want to interact with us. Because God knows nobody wants to interact with us
you should
otherwise.
See us. We're in the basement.
We are literally in the basement. All right, with that, we're going to sign off. So thank you once again. We'll see you next time. And as we like to say, life is short, so stop drinking shitty wine.
Bye.
Au revoir.
Wow.